So yeah, we're gonna get right into it. So the topic of conversation today is talking about black excellence, and there were a couple things at last month's show that we were on the brink of. We were talking about the Panther movie right before it came out. So I actually want to unpack some of that. I want to have a conversation about some of those things there. And we love to use things that are happening in pop culture to have a broader conversation about things we need to have a conversation about.
And the funny thing is, just watching social media and people in real time, pop culture is very influential in black culture, meaning we pay more attention to what's happening in pop culture, what's trending, than the whole broad spectrum. You know what I mean? If I'm an old school cat. He said, shout out to the OGs. I get on the train every day with the Daily News. I'm that dude. But what we talking about is a lot of stories in there that we ain't talking about. So people look like, you still reading the paper? I said, because everything ain't on these news sites. So we it's information. And I remember when the Black Panther came out, and I was like, damn, I wish we was doing the show this Sunday. And you was like, they can still be talking about it next month.
They're going to talk about it
and
next
they're still
month.
talking about it. Yeah. And Monique, we still talking about Monique.
But let's talk about something you just said about that, which was one of the main criticisms of this Panther Wakanda spirit era. You know what I mean? And DJ Reezy, be sure to jump in the conversation as you see fit. But I know you're on the ones and twos.
Play some Wakanda-ish.
You know what I mean? No, you good.
I'm joking, man.
Why you tell that man? That man got, you know what I mean? Well. He got it all. He got everything. But anyway, but one of the criticisms of the Panther fever was that, so now everybody want to celebrate African culture, when a fictitious movie come out. But on a regular basis, you know what I'm saying? Why ain't we just, lit for Africa in general? You know what I mean? Which was one of the criticisms. And, I got my view on that. But
I want to know why, too.
Yeah, I definitely got a view on that. But anybody want to jump in on that one real quick?
Well, my criticism of the movie didn't pertain to that. I don't have a problem with anything that pushes us to begin to celebrate ourselves. But I do have a problem with people feeling that this movie somehow is the epitome of black empowerment. I mean, it's a white-owned company with a white vision behind it from a white Hollywood that we was just calling racist the day before Black Panther was getting ready to come out. We were talking about Oscars so white, and we was talking about how horrible Hollywood is, and now all of a sudden Hollywood is making a movie to empower black people? Come on, how foolish can we get? So that was my thing. People like, this movie is going to empower us, and your enemy is never going to give you the tools to empower you. As Asada said, your enemies are never going to educate your children to overthrow them. So you can't think that they're ever going to give you a movie without using it to implant subliminal messages, which Black Panther was 100% white supremacist propaganda from the opening credits to the end credits. And if you went in there blind, if you went in there not conscious of what may happen, you walked out of there messed up.
I thought it was a good movie. I liked it. I think it's gotten a lot of criticism, like on both sides, but I'm seeing it more like for kids. Like, I think it's empowering for kids to see, kids that don't know the whole conversation of like, being woke and things like that. But I think for kids to see positive black images of black people, to see natural women, to see women with dark skin being empowered and in places of power, those were images that I thought were powerful for kids, for young people to see. Mm-hmm. Older people, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway, but kids are in such a fragile state. I thought it was a good thing for them to see.
With that being said, that would have to be seen with somebody that, because there's teachable moments.
Right.
Definitely.
There's teachable moments in those in that instance. So if I'm taking my son, which I did, because we marveled, we watched all of them. So if I'm taking it with him, and I'm not talking about natural hair, when we see the woman with natural hair, we're not talking about African dialect or what colonial is. So somebody can say colonize in the middle of the movie, and we don't even know what it being a colonizer is, and how did it impact Africa and the rest of the world. So there's teachable moments.
Because one of the things you said, the aspect of it, like you dealing with a white-owned company, white-owned Hollywood, and white-owned Hollywood would not give you the tools by means, for your liberation. A lot of those that grew up in the 60s, what have you, had a lot of issue with the ideas coming through hip hop. I mean, I'm talking about pre-gangster rap, just hip hop in general. Yeah. Even when groups, because I remember having debates with college professors at Morgan State University. I wasn't a student, but I just happened to be up there doing other things. But I had a conversation with college with professors who were saying, like, groups like, the rap music. I was like, yo, but what about Public Enemy and KRS-One? And because I'm 18, 19 years old, getting so much from them. Yeah. And they're saying that these vehicles, these record labels, what have you, these are white-owned record labels. They're not going to give you what you need. And my thing was, but these brothers are managing to utilize that platform. It's a white-owned platform. None of these cats were signed to independent black companies or whatever. All of these were white labels, and many of them were signed by white people. Right. You know what I mean?
And what did those white folks do?
Huh?
What did those white folks do within a few years?
They shut that down.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. They learned from that.
Right.
They learned from that. Well, when they gave us the freedom,
right.
the white supremacists learned from that.
I'll say this because to me, if you study, like when we was riding on train again, I was talking about the book Death of R&B.
Yes.
By Nelson George, which is an excellent book to understand the history of black music. In the history of black music, there's always been cycles, and like the cycle with conscious rap music, that's not the first cycle that white corporations and white companies provided platforms by which you got revolutionary ideas. Like, Last Poets weren't signed to a black label. That was a white label. Gil Scott-Heron wasn't signed to a black label. They were signed to white labels. They were given white platforms to do their thing. In the history of everything that we consider, the most of the funding for the Black Panther Party came from white organizations. Right. So,
and they was infiltrated too and destroyed.
Absolutely. So wait a minute. Absolutely. So that doesn't take away from the point. The history of most of the revolutionary ideas that we ingest through popular culture or what have you have always been presented to us on predominantly on white controlled platforms. Then the foolishness is that we have an expectation that they're going to continue to provide these platforms because, wait a minute, let me finish the point, because they ride in on that. Mm-hmm. So the point that I'm making is that if in the 80s and what have you, many of us were able to utilize these tools. They don't give us the tools by which we can build our liberation, but we can steal some tools and flip some shit while we got the moment to flip it. And I've seen the same impact of, even though like Amiri Baraka.